Hi, do you remember me? It's Betsy Pedersen again. I'm going to tell you a little bit more. Remember I was working for a whole bunch of people in, the Salt Lake area, sort of. And I was working for another lady, and I'm over here, washing the dishes. That's what I do. I wash the dishes. But she was telling me, Betsy, I hope you have a lot of children because you are so good with them. And she was glad that I was working for her and helping take care of her baby and the whole rest of her house. And in the evenings when I would get off work, I would take the city car, the trolley kind of a thing, get downtown into the Sugar House area. And that's not a house, it's a bunch of houses, the Sugar House area, okay? And we would go to a dance. We'd have a dance. And do you remember that guy, George, that I met a little while ago? He would be there, and he'd wait for me, and we would dance. Well, sort of. I wish I made him learn how to dance, because he couldn't dance at all. So but he didn't, and I didn't, and anyway. So he'd kind of watch while I would dance, and I would have fun. But he was a nice guy, and we had fun doing that, just meeting our dancing and enjoying it and everything. And he and I ended up getting married. And we got married in March is when we got married. And it was pretty simple, easy. And then when we got home, his mom, I just called her Grandma Capson, made us a nice dinner, and we were married, and that was it. And I just loved Grandma Capson, his mom. She was just like a mother to me. She was so nice. And anyway, we got us a house. And boy, I tell ya, I liked having my own house. Oh man, after so many years of taking care of other people's houses, oh, I just loved having my own house. And after a little while, we got a baby, and had a little baby Rosalind. We named her Rosalind. Oh, she's so cute. I thought she was just the sweetest baby of all the babies I've ever taken care of. She was the cutest. And we were gonna have a doctor, but he didn't make it. He was like an hour late. So, Grandma Capson and her name was Aunt Celia. They were my doctors, and they just kind of helped me. They got the baby, and it was fine. And we got kind of a little old-fashioned cradle for her, and Grandma Capson would take turns rocking her, and we just loved her. Thought she was so cute. And after a little bit, we had another little boy named Harold. That's Harold. Isn't he cute? Maybe you've seen that picture before. And he was a fat, happy baby. We loved him. And so we had Rosalind and Harold. And then we had a little girl named Zelda. Her name was Zelda. That's my sister's name, if you remember. And so we had a little girl named Zelda. And about the time she was born, we got a graphophone. Whoa! Now we can listen to music inside the house whenever we want to. Oh, can you imagine being able to do that? It was so nice. We loved that graphophone. That was fun to have. So we had our 3 kids, and then we got a little baby boy named Percy. And he was a skinny little baby. Oh my goodness, but we fattened him up pretty good. It worked out. And about that time, we also got a pram to push the babies in. And oh, we liked that. That was nice to have. It's a little stroller kind of a thing. It's called a pram. So that was good to have. And after Percy was born, and he was just not even 2 months old, we got the scarlet fever. Oh no. And it's and the kids got it, and it's kind of not a very good disease. And George just we had to quarantine, which means we couldn't go anywhere, couldn't leave the house. And so George had to stay out in the barn. Yeah, I'll just sleep out here, so we could get the work done on the farm, and he had to stay out there in the barn. And we had to just stay in the house, and Rosalind got it really bad, and Harold and Zelda got it just a little bit, and Percy was okay. Thank goodness. Thank goodness Percy didn't really get it. And well, Rosalind, oh goodness, she kind of scared me. You get really sick when you get the scarlet fever, and kids sometimes die from it, and she was really worrying me, and I thought she was going to die one night, but she said, Mom, if you will pray for me, it will be okay. And we had faith, and she had faith, and she was okay. I was so glad, because sometimes kids die from the scarlet fever. And Harold had it, and his one leg got so tight, the muscles, it wouldn't straighten, and he couldn't straighten out his leg. It kind of hurt. It just made his leg hurt, and so I would rub his leg with consecrated oil and rub it every single day. And we got that leg to straighten out again. We were so glad, and thankfully Percy was okay, and Zelda wasn't too bad, but we had to kind of watch. Zelda, what? Get back in here. She would kind of try to sneak out and go see her dad in the barn. I wasn't doing anything because she missed him, so we had to keep an eye on her because she'd try to sneak out and go see George out in the barn. Oh, but thankfully, we got over that. We were glad. And so, after that, we got, oh, and also, so Harold was so excited because we had 2 girls. We had Rosalind and Zelda, and Harold was so excited when Percy was born. And he came in to see Percy when Percy was just a little baby, and he brought in a little string, and he put it in Percy's hand, and his hand kind of closed over that string like babies do sometime. They held on that string, and Harold said, Mom, Percy can play horsey with me already. Oh, good. Well, yes, he can. I'm glad you have a little brother to play with. We'll wait till he gets a little older, but yeah, he'll be good to play horsey with. And so pretty soon, and then Percy started growing up, and yep, they got to be really good friends. We had another little baby, Delbert. We had Delbert. And about that time, George decided, because he wasn't living in the barn anymore, we need to go to Idaho and get a farm. Go to Idaho? We decided we're going to go up to Idaho and get a farm. And so we packed up everything, and we moved up to Idaho, and we got a house up there, and we got a farm, and it was in kind of the well, it's called McDonaldville, but if you ever heard of it, that's okay. It's kind of by Blackfoot, just so you know. And about that time, we had another baby, little Edwin. Little Edwin was born. And little Edwin, when he was born, his foot was twisted. His foot was twisted. And that's kind of what it looks like. See, it looks like a hand, doesn't it? That's the foot, and it's twisted clear around like that. And that's not a good thing. And so I rubbed his foot again with consecrated oil. I just rubbed it and rubbed it and rubbed it and rubbed it and rubbed it every day. And I got his foot to straighten out again, and he was okay. We were glad. Because if your foot's twisted, you just got to learn to walk on it. So we got his foot fixed. But that was a hard pregnancy with Edwin. That was just kind of hard to have him as a baby. And I got sick. And I went to see a doctor, and he said, Betsy, I don't know. You've got some ulcers, it looks like, that need to be operated on, and I don't think you can have any more kids. You won't be able to have any more kids. And I said, oh, well, okay. I wanted some more. Well, about that time, we had a Relief Society trip back to Utah to go to the temple. The Logan Temple is where we went. And And I still wasn't feeling very well, but I went with them. And while I was at the temple, there was just an old lady who was working there, and she kind of noticed I was, I don't know, I wasn't feeling real great. Anyway, we started talking, and I told her what was wrong, and I was kind of scared. I don't know, maybe, should I have a surgery? Will it work? Can I still have kids? I don't know. And she said, my sister was paralyzed. She couldn't walk. And she came to the temple a lot. She liked to come to the temple. And she asked the priesthood brethren to give her a blessing, administer to her. And it helped. It helped her a lot. Betsy, you should ask for a blessing while you're here at the temple. Just ask some of the brothers. And I said, okay, I think I will do that. Because it's a long trip to come to the temple, so we can't just come back again. So I said, all right. Okay, so there were some men there, and I just said, can you give me a blessing? And they said, sure. And they put their hands on my head, and they gave me a blessing. And it was a very nice blessing, and I felt like a shock run through me like electricity. And they said I would be healed and I would be blessed doing the charity work I'm going to do. And I was healed. I was okay after that. And I went back home, back to Idaho. Remember, we're in Idaho now. And I went back to see my doctor, and I told him what happened, and he looked, he did his work on me, and he said, Betsy, you're healed. I've heard of this stuff happening, but that's a miracle. You can have some more kids. You can have some more kids. And that was a great testimony builder to me to have that blessing, and I was healed.